What's up, folks? Yeah, I'm at the port here. I'm at work, so if you hear a lot of noise, it's because, well, look where I'm at. But I'm using like the cheapest camera I have, so I'll probably look cartoonish. I don't know how good the audio is, but let me get to the point here. I called out where my mother is, and you know, she had a debilitating, injury or whatever. So when I call the phone, their caretaker has to answer the phone, and then they put it on speakerphone. And the caretaker happens to be a relative in name only, on paper only, caretaker. And this relative has decided to, separate or turn my mother against everyone that they have issues with. So, there's really not much I can do right now. I could either let this eat me up, drive me mad, and I think that's what that relative wants, or I can just get on with my life and make peace. And I think I'm going to do the latter, folks, because stress wears you out. It ages you. It lowers your immune system. And then you get sick. You get distracted. Maybe you start drinking. I'm like this, folks. If God wants something done, then let God do it. Because I'm at the point now where I realize I can't. If it ain't God's will, it ain't going to happen. Maybe if it's not Satan's will, it ain't going to happen. I don't know. I'm just old enough to know either you give me the means to correct the situation or you don't. And like I said, I'm pretty much on my own now, so I got to, be careful with my own resources, my own medical resources as far as my own health, and I can't be engaged in like destructive emotional back and forths that really aren't going to add anything to my life or theirs. So if this person, and that's what they are to me at this point, they're not, I don't consider them my family. My family doesn't act like that. The last time I called, I could hear them whispering, telling, my mother things to say. It was hideous to me. It was like a horror movie. They were sitting there coaching, knowing that my mom is in a compromised state, medical state. They're sitting there coaching my mother on what to say to me. And that's right then when I knew, okay, it's over. Now, if I win the lottery or something, then yeah, I can make a change. I could, but without, a whole lot of money or whatever, then there's really not much I can do. Yeah, I could push the issue, but all that's going to do is stress people out. It'll stress me out. It's going to stress my mother out. So I'm just happy that at least she's, I guess, in a place of, physical comfort. The caretaker, has access to all her retirement and all that now, so they should be okay in that sense. But like I said, I got other things I got to get on with, folks. I got trying to do, stage, theater, comedy, whatever, and all that stuff distracts you. So I'm just gonna let it go and let God. And now that's what my old girlfriend used to say: let go and let God. That's all I can do. And that's all I can do, and hope for the best. And if they would, want my help, if I'm able to help down the road, then they got my number. But I'm not going to sit there and set myself up as the bad guy by always calling, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" Because with that other person always listening in, they're never going to be honest. You see what I'm saying? So the only way I would know is if they were okay is if I could isolate them from this mentally insane caretaker. Because who does that, man? Who does that? Who listens in on phone calls, and then you can hear them in the background coaching my mom on what to say, and it's things that my mom wouldn't normally say if it was just me and her. So this person has, I don't know, hijacked, in my opinion, my mother's will. Like a puppet. And like I said, I'm not going to let that eat me up. I can't let that eat me up. All I can do is get on with my life, and like I said, let go and let God. And if God wants me to, rescue them or something. If I win the lottery, I win the lottery. But if not, just worrying about it ain't gonna do me no good. It's just gonna, you know, cause needless worry, and it's gonna distract me from what I'm trying to do. So, but I tried everything, you know, but I can't work with an unreasonable. Look at that truck going by all loud. I cannot work with an unreasonable person who lacks reason, who wants to anchor you to the past. It ain't me, and that's another thing, folks. It ain't me. I realize that now. It ain't not. Oh, you sent some mean text to me a lot. Nobody acts like this over some text. Who doesn't have disagreements? Now I'm beginning to think whatever text I sent were probably true. You know, the only time I ever send anybody mean texts is when they're separating me from my mother. So those texts were probably true. You know? But like I said, I don't have time for that dark, negative mindset and whatever. So I'm going to let go and let God and try to get on with my life and see what fate has in store. But I just want everyone to know that, you know, I call there, the caretaker won't answer the phone. They won't answer the phone. So don't let them play this guilt. Oh, well, nobody will help. Well, because you won't answer your phone. You won't talk to me. So they want to have it both ways. They want to play the victim. Well, nobody will help. You won't answer the phone. And then talk about like lowballing and unfair. When I'm asking about my mother's medical state, you don't put the person on the phone who's ill. You don't put someone on the phone with Alzheimer's and expect them to be able to give me a straight answer. That's how deviant this person's nature has become. You know, goodness well, if somebody is infirmed and you want to know how are they doing, you don't put the infirm person on the phone. As the caretaker, you're the one that answers the questions. So, like I say, folks, I'm dealing with something that I don't recognize anymore. And I just want this on the record for the future, whatever. I'm dealing with something I don't recognize anymore. So all I can do is, like I said, let go and let fate. Anyways, time to get back to work.